Welcome back to Jacques in the Garden. Today we are talking about everything you need to know about growing garlic, part 2, planting. So in this video, I'm going to cover everything from separating all the cloves from the heads of garlic to doing some optional soaks, including a sterilization soak and a fertilizer soak. And yes, some of these things that I'm covering today will seem like extra work. Nothing is complicated though, and this is literally what garlic farmers do. So the reason why I'm following the practices of garlic farmers is that they want the biggest heads of garlic possible, because for them, that means the most money possible. So if it works for them, it will definitely work for you at home. So the first thing we're going to be covering is separating the cloves. So let's get started with that. A couple things about planting garlic. This is not all of my garlic. As I mentioned in the last video, I'm planning on planting about 600 to 800 individual cloves of garlic. So right now I'm planting my soft neck garlic because my hard neck garlic is still inside the refrigerator, as I mentioned in the last video. But I do have one bag of soft neck out because I want to show you guys one of the tricks for separating those cloves that'll make your life much easier. So let's get started first though with the soft neck garlic that I am growing. And I want to talk about some of the things that people mention when it comes to separating cloves of garlic. And that is whether you need to ensure that the wrapper is on every single clove. And the answer is you don't. It's actually not that big of a deal. Even the garlic farmers themselves will say it's not like they stop the tractor, run out into the field and pick up a clove of garlic because the wrapper fell off. It's totally fine. It is an extra protective layer, but it's absolutely not necessary. So the thing you want to do is just really peel off these outer layers and then just start popping these cloves off. I find the easiest way is to just force your thumb into one of the cloves like that, and it'll just separate out each individual little package of cloves. Once you get to the bottom like this, you could just snap the whole bottom base off. Now, the only thing that really matters when it comes to separating the garlic is that you want to make sure you have this little root end attached to your clove. Sometimes when you're breaking off the individual cloves, this will snap, and I'll actually do it right now to show you guys. And right there, if you lost that root at the bottom and it snapped like that, then you cannot plant this clove. This is now a clove that you could eat or you can put in your compost, but it will not grow unless it has this bottom portion attached. So that is really the only thing that really matters here. The other thing I would mention is that if you have a lot of garlic and you're not sure if you could fit it all, what I like to do is to separate out the smaller cloves. Those are the ones that will tend to produce a smaller bulb in the end. It will still produce a bulb, and honestly, they could still be quite sizable. But if you were limited on how much garlic you could actually fit in your garden, always go for the bigger ones like these, plant those first. And if you still have some space left, that is when you plant these smaller cloves. I'll show you another thing I like to do with small cloves besides just eating them, which is actually a really great way to get a ton of garlic greens, which are really wonderful in soup at this time of year. So I'm gonna go ahead and separate out all of these. Laura's Italian, that's the variety that I'm separating right now. Then I'll show you a trick on how to separate the hardnecks. As I was breaking up these cloves, I did spot some signs of disease, and those are the ones I set aside. Now, not all disease is like truly a disease that transfers in the garden, but it could just be like an isolated case of rot, or maybe an insect got into one of the cloves. And that is the kind of thing that I'm looking out for as I'm breaking these cloves up. So what am I looking for? First is a visual cue, which is if I see that on some of the cloves, it looks like there's a dark brown spot. This one as well. On the very top here, it looks like kind of darker. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking out for initially. The other thing I'm noticing is that as I'm peeling and separating these cloves, if I smell a sort of funky garlic scent, that's usually a sign of garlic rot. It's just like the garlic that was stuck in the back of your pantry starts to smell a little bit funky, and you could usually detect it. So let me peel one of these and show you what I'm looking at. You could see that it is indeed rotting. So that's rot. And remember, if it doesn't and you peel it open, that's fine. You could still plant the clove even if it's peeled, even though a lot of people say you can't. So all of these are disease that I don't want to plant. I'm going to separate those, get rid of them, maybe even throw them in the green bin. And right here's an example of a clove that I broke. Some of the root broke, but not all of it. So there is still the root section in the back here. And honestly, you could still plant this and you'll get a garlic plant, and that's totally fine. So the next thing I need to do is, once I finish breaking up this bag, is I'm gonna put all of these bigger cloves back in the bag, and we're gonna do a little bit of a sanitizing soak. The separating marathon is now over. These guys are fully peeled up, the two soft necks that we're planting. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually take these and put them in this bucket with the sanitizing solution. So there are a couple different things that you could do. First thing I'll mention is I put 2 knots on this one to symbolize that it is the Inchellium red garlic. And I put a single knot on this one to symbolize that it's the Laura's Italian. Because what I'm using here, I would use Sharpie usually, but I'm actually using rubbing alcohol. So rubbing alcohol will strip any Sharpie, and that's why I put those little knots in. So all I'm using here is 70% rubbing alcohol you could get at any grocery store or like drugstore, commonly available. If you don't want to use this, you could also use 3% peroxide. You could also use cheap vodka. All of those will work. And the purpose of this here is to ensure that this garlic is not carrying any fungal pathogens, any mites, anything like that, that isn't like one of those diseases that get checked for disease certification. As I was separating out all these cloves, I noticed that some of them actually had a lot of mite damage. So you'll see all this like little spotting on the clove. In my experience, usually means that small mites are on the garlic that have bit it all up, and that is why it looks like that. So I am doing the alcohol soak just in case, and we're going to let that sit for 10 minutes in this solution before moving on to the fertilizer soak. Now, while that is soaking, here's a tip for separating out your hardneck garlic cloves that sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. I find my success rate's usually around 50%, but what you're going to do is you're looking for this hard neck here, and I'm just going to smack it on the table. You could also just try to push on it, but it's more satisfying to give it a nice tap, just like that. And what happens is that the neck will pop out like so, and now all of your cloves are really, really easy to separate. And of course, this variety is a hard neck called Music. So the reason why I love it so much is that it makes these really giant cloves, which I absolutely love to use in the kitchen. Now, this trick doesn't work all the time. Occasionally you will smack these, and oh, that one actually did work. And this one I tried earlier, it just bent. So it's not gonna work every time, but when it does work, it's very satisfying. And you get to separate all these cloves super easy. So I will be planting this 1 pound of Music garlic. The rest is going to stay in the fridge. But once you separate the cloves like this, you really ought to plant it within the next couple days. So this isn't something I wanna sit in the fridge for any longer, because it's going to start having more issues once it's exposed like this. It's been just over 10 minutes now, and the sterilization soak is complete. So I'm gonna take these out. It's nice that they already have the mesh bags. I'm gonna let them keep draining a little bit extra here. Now I'm gonna move that last garlic that we separated right into that. And for the fertilizer soak, this is really giving your garlic the best possible chance to succeed. Now, honestly, me and Kevin have argued about this back and forth a bit, and he doesn't really feel that it has that much of an impact, and I can understand why that would be, because it's not like the garlic is literally going to soak the fertilizer into the clove, but some of it will get onto the roots, it will stick to the papers, it will get on the cloves, and some amount of benefit will confer to that garlic. And it's all about giving it a nice boost at the beginning. So if you had like a mycorrhizal inoculant, this would also be a good time to use it. But all I'm going to do is mix this to the strength that it says for like mature plants, which is about 4 ounces per gallon. Now, I have no clue how much I just put in. It's not that big of a deal. In the end, it'll still get some amount of fertilizer and it'll be just fine. All right, so the fertilization soak, the minimum time you want to give it is 30 minutes, up to 3 days. So if I start soaking this, it gets dark, I don't have time to plant my garlic, no big deal. You could pick it up the next day or the following. If you wait too long, the garlic will start to grow in the solution, and then it's going to be really tricky to transplant your garlic, because once it already has roots and it has a growth tip, the chances of you breaking those during transplanting is super high. So make sure that you either are going to plant it on the same day, or the very worst case scenario, you'll do it within 3 days. So while this is soaking for that 30 minutes, let's go over into the garden and prepare the garden bed where I will be planting this garlic. I've got my bucket of good soup and garlic here. Set that aside. And this is the bed in question that we are going to be planting in today. It is a 4x8 short, large birdies bed. The reason why I'm choosing this one for the soft neck garlic is because it is a raised bed. When you have your bed above ground like this, what happens is that the soil heats up a little bit faster, especially in the spring, because you have access to the sun on all sides of that soil. So for soft neck, which really prefers to grow in warmer climates, it doesn't need any cold weather, this is the optimal choice for my garlic. Now for the hardneck garlic, I am going in ground because the ground itself will be colder, it'll take longer for it to heat up once spring arrives, and that should lead to a healthier garlic crop. So we do have to do a couple things here, like clear off the irrigation and the mulch, and let's talk about the soil prep for getting this perfect garlic to grow. The first thing we're going to do here is remove some of these plants like this alyssum here. I don't need a random alyssum growing in my garlic bed. There's also this guy on this side. And then the biggest hesitation I have here is whether I keep these poblanos or not. It is winter time, so really I should remove them, But what we'll do is I'll dig them out and I'll pot them up and overwinter them just because the plants look so good. I have posted that before, so I won't bore you guys with those details today. But for now, I'm gonna basically get everything out of this bed, the irrigation lines, the mulch, and the plants. One thing I wanted to quickly mention is that usually I don't remove the mulch. I just mix it into the bed because that helps build organic matter in the soil. But when it comes to planting a ton of garlic, a bunch of small plants, it's actually a little bit annoying to have all your mulch mixed in. So I'm just removing it for now. I will be adding it back later. I just wanted to get it out of the way. Since the soil in this bed was very dry and a bit chunky, I decided to break it up and water it very deeply. The way I like to water dry soil is to take the hose nozzle off and let it jet into the soil. That helps mix the soil and works the water deeper in instead of it just pooling on the surface. Once I got the soil nice and wet, I carefully added a layer of vermiculite across the entire bed. And before I mixed it, I made sure to get it wet because you don't want to breathe in any of the dust from dry vermiculite or perlite for that matter. The vermiculite is going to act as a little sponge, and when it gets wet, it expands, holds on to some amount of water, and lets the rest drain through. This is really great for keeping the surface of your soil well hydrated and stopping it from drying out, which is the problem that I had. And now we could talk about garlic spacing. And when it comes to garlic spacing, there's really a magic number that seems to be the safe bet for most any garden or any situation, and that is 6-inch spacing. You can technically go down to about 4 inches, but you will start to have smaller heads of garlic. Now, there is always a trade-off of growing big heads or growing more weight overall. You'll probably get more weight of garlic overall at 4 inches, but then now you're stuck peeling little tiny baby cloves in the kitchen every time you want to use garlic. So for me, I'm going for efficiency and size, and 6 inches is the magic number here. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I did not fill this bed up with more soil. Right now it is sitting at just about 3 inches below the very surface of the bed. And what that means is it's actually perfect, because now when I plant my garlic, the garlic planting depth, by the way, is about 3 to 4 inches beneath the soil. So if I have the surface right here, that's the top of my bed, I'm not adding anything. I want to place the garlic clove at a hole that is 4 inches deep. That is how you want to go for it. Now, if you're in a cold climate, you want to plant it 4 inches deep and then probably put about 2 to 3 inches of mulch on top of that. Since I'm already down 3 inches, all I'm going to do here is make a nice little furrow and then lay all my garlic cloves in it and then bury it all in compost. This is the time of year I like to place a single compost order to last me through the whole season, because fall and winter are a great time to amend your garden beds. So tomorrow I'll get about 3 yards of compost and I'll top off all this garlic. But first, let's lay out the grid and I'll show you the easiest way, especially for raised bed soil, to mark out your bed. So first things first, when it comes to spacing the garlic, as I mentioned, it's 6 inches. And that means that if you're on the edge of the bed here, you're not planting it right here, because that only gives you 3 inches in one direction. So you want to come in just about 3 inches from the edge of a 4-foot bed, and that is where you're going to start. Or really the matter of any bed, you want to come about 3 inches in from the edge, and that's going to be your first row. Now, in order to do long rows and plant so densely with garlic, it's always better to actually set up a grid in the first place, because otherwise you're going to end up stumbling over yourself, not remembering where you put the last clove. And trust me, I've been there, and you end up double planting or missing a lot of spaces. So what I like to do is I'll get my handy 2x2 here, or 4x4, whatever you have on hand. I'll lay it down inside my bed. I'll find the 3-inch mark here, which is right about there. And then I'm going to press this into the soil. Since we fluffed the soil up, it's nice and soft, and it's extra easy to do this kind of thing. So there's the first indentation. Then we're gonna go from 3 inches, 6 inches over to 9, and that is going to be where the next furrow is placed. You just wanna make sure that your next trench is parallel to the first one. So that's what I'm looking at: the back, the front, the middle, and I'm still lined up right around that 9 inches, and it's time to press. And the last one, it's gonna be right at 45, which gives us 3 inches from the 48-inch at the edge of the bed. First garlic up is the Lore's Italian here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the string off, and we'll start laying this garlic out. There's one more important thing, and that is that the pointy side should be up. So this side, the root, is going in the soil, pointy side up. Other than that, that's the only thing you have to remember. So next one, first one was at 3, so the next one's gonna be at 9. I'm going to be pressing it into the soil ever so lightly, but the bulk of the burial is going to be with the compost later on. So I do want it to seat in actual soil at the beginning, but after that, it's going to be mostly mulch and compost. So half the bed has gone in now with the Lourdes Italian, and now I'm going to do this other half with the Inchellium instead. So here's the first bed of garlic planted in my garden, ready for the next most critical, crucial step. So let me go grab a couple more ingredients and we'll finish this bed off. And by the way, I still have probably like 200 cloves of soaked garlic left over there in those mesh bags. So what I'm going to do is tie them back up, throw them back in the bucket, and tomorrow I'll have to find some more space for them. The secret ingredient to growing wonderful big garlic is actually very common knowledge. It's fertilizer, and that's because garlic is a very hungry plant. Now, garlic, of course, will grow and produce without any additional fertilizer, but garlic responds really nicely to fertilizer, especially when it's applied at the beginning, at its planting time. It's going to make really good use of it and size up dramatically because of it. Now, the most important thing, you don't have to get a specific garlic fertilizer like this one is from Keen, which is where I got a lot of this garlic from. But what you want to do is make sure that the nitrogen is the biggest number, especially at this time of year. Garlic, when you look at it, it's just a green leaf coming out of the ground. And to make that, it needs nitrogen. Later on, it will use phosphorus and potassium to make that bulb and the roots. But initially, the most critical thing is that you supply it with some form of nitrogen. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sprinkle this fertilizer directly over these cloves and in the trench so it settles right near the garlic itself. Then we're going to bury it with some amount of raised bed soil. And then tomorrow, when I get that big delivery of compost, I will fully cover this bed up with a nice thick 2-inch layer of straight up compost. So let's start scattering some fertilizer and get this garlic actually buried. So the next thing I'm gonna do is bury it because I don't want fertilizer sitting on the surface and I don't want my garlic exposed to the elements until my compost gets here. So let's go ahead, throw on a couple buckets of raised bed soil. This is quite dry, so I will need to rehydrate this for sure. For now, I am putting the irrigation lines back on, even though I will be adding compost to fill up this bed to the top. But let me talk about a couple different things you guys might want to pay attention to in these first couple months of growing before we come back for part 3 sometime in the spring and summer next year. This is the period where all of your garlic's growth is really going to be happening. From now until spring, your garlic should have emerged out of the soil. It'll probably be about this big come spring, and it's going to be mostly focusing on sending out roots and developing more leaves to emerge out of the ground. The more leaves you get in that early period, and by leaves I mean literally those little, they're leaves, the garlic leaves that come out of the ground. The more of those you get, the more wrappers you have around your bulb, and the longer it's going to last, and the more photosynthesis potential that plant has to create a bigger bulb. So at this point in the year, you want to make sure that this ground is watered. It should never dry out at any period of time. Luckily, rainy season's on the horizon. The other thing you want to do is actually make sure you don't overwater early. At the beginning, when the garlic doesn't have much going on, this is the period where it has the highest chance to rot in the soil. If it doesn't emerge and start putting out leaves and it gets totally flooded by heavy rains, there's a good chance that garlic might rot. So keep an eye on that. If you live somewhere cold, make sure you apply a ton of mulch, 2 to 4 inches thick. The thicker your mulch is, the colder your climate is, and that will help protect your garlic and make sure that it survives the winter and thrives come spring. The other thing I wanted to mention is that once spring does arrive, that is a great time to do an additional fertilization. Now at that point, you could switch to something that has a little bit more phosphorus or potassium, or just do something that is high nitrogen because they are still putting out tons of leaves. So springtime, you want to fertilize again, but really that's it for garlic. There's really not that much to do. It's not a very finicky plant. If you follow these tips that I outlined in this video, you should get the biggest cloves and heads you've ever got before. So good luck to you guys. I'll see you next year when we actually harvest and talk about some of the maintenance. And if I get any diseases, I'll also show you how to treat those too.